Joining us now on the Michigan Megacast is Dr. Christian Greer, the president and CEO of the Michigan Science Center. Dr. Greer, thanks for being with us again.
It's good to see you again, Tyler.
It's good to see you as well. So let's start off with everything that's happening this summer at the Michigan Science Center. Some exciting things are coming up in late July and as well into the month of August and certainly throughout the fall. Can you give us some insight on some of the things that are coming up very soon that would be really interesting for people to explore at the Michigan Science Center?
Well, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you giving us this opportunity to tell people about our family late night. You know, it's so interesting. We talk about remote work and different kinds of flexible schedules that people have today. And we need to do the same thing for families. Families need an opportunity to flex their time to be able to get together and have quality experiences outside the home. So we wanted to provide a late night opportunity. We're experimenting with this idea of having the Science Center do programs outside of its normal hours. So normally we are a Wednesday through Sunday organization, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we just decided this summer, to try a family late night. It will happen on this Saturday, July 30th from 5 to 8. And we're hoping to have fun 80s themed activities in connection to our Popnology exhibit that's been going on, very popular all summer. It's a mix between pop culture and technology mashed together. So it's going to be a fun night of games, of excitement, and of STEM or STEAM-based experiences.
We're joined by Dr. Christian Greer. He is the president and CEO of the Michigan Science Center, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. Dr. Greer, also part of the late night events for families, as well as a lot of other programming at the Michigan Science Center this summer, is the return of the opening of the Imax Theater at the Michigan Science Center. It's undergone a lot of improvements since it was last open just a short while ago. Can you tell us about some of those improvements and how that's going to improve the experience that's already quite amazing at any Imax theater?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, we have an IMAX dome theater, and so we project on one of the largest domes in Michigan, might be the largest dome in Michigan. It's an amazing experience, and it's been around for almost 50 years. It's hard to believe that the IMAX concept has been around that long. And some of the first theaters were actually dome theaters. Many of us are familiar with the 4-story tall flat screens that we see in IMAX for, first run Hollywood films. But I really like the dome experience. It's wraparound 360, makes you feel immersive. We're showing a film called Asteroid Hunters, and it's all about trying to find those asteroids that might be headed towards Earth. There's a team of scientists and astronomers all over the world that are kind of an Earth defense squad, if you will, that are looking for these. And this film covers all that. But the big news about our IMAX is the seats. We've had the seats that were in there prior, were there for it's been since the late 70s, maybe 78, 79, when the theater was first installed. And it's so interesting to think about how just the change in seating makes a difference. We partnered with Magna, who designs many of the seats probably in your own vehicles. They're a company that has offices here locally in Southeast Michigan. They did a fantastic job, Tyler, and they designed a custom seat. There's no other seat like this in the world. It's very comfortable, and it allows you to sit back and relax and enjoy the IMAX experience. So we're excited about that.
So you mentioned Asteroid Hunters is one of the current movies that's in your IMAX theater. Any plans for other movies coming in the near future that people should be on the lookout for, that they can experience there, and what really is, as you said, an immersive experience in the movie theater?
Well, IMAX always had sort of this tagline of taking you there. And when you think about it, I mean, I've never been to the pyramids at Giza. I've never been to the Amazon. I've never been to Antarctica or the bottom of the ocean to see Titanic. And yet I feel like I was there, right? And many of you that are listening to this probably feel the same way because of the immersive experience that happens in IMAX. So we're looking for new films that will be available. We can't announce anything yet because we're still negotiating on what's there. But usually we like water films do really well. Sort of those films that do tours of different wild places around the world are fun. So that's kind of our formula for looking for films. Right now we're showing Asteroid Hunters because of the James Webb Space Telescope has been a really exciting thing, seeing all these pictures of the universe from back in the early stages of the universe. And but I like the water films. They're the most fun. They have the best soundtracks, and usually those are the ones I like. So hopefully we'll get a water film or something similar.
We're joined by Dr. Christian Greer on the Michigan Megacast. He is the president and the CEO of the Michigan Science Center, joining us on the program today. More information can be found on their website, mi-sci.org. That's mi-sci.org for more information. You can also follow them on social media on Twitter, mi_SCI on Twitter is their handle for more information on upcoming programs and ongoing initiatives at the Michigan Science Center, one of which you talked about, Dr. Greer, is the Popnology program. Very popular, very well received since it's begun earlier on this year. Can you talk about what that program entails and how much longer people in Michigan that are visiting the Michigan Science Center or others coming into the state to visit the Michigan Science Center will have to experience Popnology?
Well, earlier this spring, we got a call from an exhibit touring company called EDG. I'd worked with them before in other positions at other organizations, science centers where I've worked. And they said, hey, we might have a deal for you. We've got this exhibit. It doesn't have a place to go yet. And we're talking to a bunch of science centers. Would you want it? And I said, well, what is it? And they said, it's the exhibit Popnology. And I was not familiar with the exhibit. So I look it up online and I thought, what a cool concept to look at pop culture as a way to teach people about science and technology. We love pop culture. We love our Star Wars films. Many of you remember the film E.T., the featured Back to the Future. We have a DeLorean, a Back to the Future DeLorean, Doc Brown's DeLorean that's in the exhibit. And it just plucks cool things that we remember and that we're interested in out of the film format, puts it into an exhibit and teaches you about the first smartphones and other kinds of technologies that we use, like rockets and landing on Mars, robotics, and some even, I think we have 3 Oculus Quests that are in there that you can try to do virtual reality. It's been an exciting exhibit. I wasn't sure what people would think of it. I remember the 80s growing up, of course, and as many of these films, but I did not know just how much that pop culture permeates some of the lives of even young kids, and some of these things that they're into in terms of their games that they play incorporates some 80s themes. So we're excited about this exhibit. It's in a space that's almost 9,000 square feet. So it's a big space on our 4th floor. It's free with admission. So when you come to the Science Center to see it, if you come for our late night program this Saturday, July 30th, from 5 to 8, you can come check it out. And our admission is discounted, $10 for members and $15 for non-members. Usually the adult price is $18. So we understand that there's some affordability challenges that people have as a result of our economic situation and inflation. So we're trying to keep everything reasonable in terms of checking us out.
mi-sci.org is the website for more information on all the programs at the Michigan Science Center. We're joined by Dr. Christian Greer, the CEO and the president of the Michigan Science Center on the Michigan Megacast. Dr. Greer, so many of these programs are highly interactive, even going back to what we already spoke about with the Imax theater at the Michigan Science Center being a really immersive experience. When you and your team are forming these different programs and are in negotiations to bring different interesting and cool exhibits into the Michigan Science Center, how much of a factor is interactivity in that learning experience in providing these exhibits to residents of Michigan and certainly the visitors coming in to visit Michigan Science Center?
Tyler, I'm glad you mentioned that because it's not often discussed, but before science centers were science centers, and many of the newer science centers were created in the late 60s. And they featured a lot of interactive exhibits. Prior to that, science museums had artifacts and cases, things you couldn't touch and interact with. And a group of people got together in the field and decided that they wanted to change that and sort of bring what was behind the case to life. When you think about science as a process, it's a process that's active. It's a process where you create what we used to call educated guesses about the world around us, about phenomena. And that turns into a hypothesis, which you are designing to test through experimentation. And that experimentation is supposed to help you disprove a hypothesis. So once you've eliminated all the things that can't be true, whatever's left must be closer to that truth. And understanding that reality you have to do as an active process. So interactivity in a science center is what it's all about. And what I mean by interactivity is I'm describing the fact that you're not just passively looking at something, you're actually manipulating, changing, modifying things to get us in the mood to experiment, because that's what science is all about. So we can do that with the physical sciences, we can do that with biological sciences. And when you compare an IMAX film or immersive experience, and we have other theaters, we have a planetarium, we have our Toyota 4D engineering theater, we have our science stage where we do our demonstrations. It just gives people a chance to feel like science is for them. If you go to our website, my-sci.org, you'll see right there, plastered on the front, our mission, which is to put you at the center of science. It's not us, it's you as the person experiencing your reality, the phenomenon around you, and trying to understand more about it through the scientific process. So that's what interactivity is all about.
And so important, too, as we talk about trying to encourage more people in Michigan, particularly young people in Michigan, to go into STEM careers or explore STEM careers, especially those young kids who are learning these concepts for the first time or maybe even haven't learned them yet in school, to see these concepts in action at the Michigan Science Center and other hands-on experiences in the sciences across the state is so important in developing those skills early and sparking that interest early. It has an impact not only on their education, but also on the future of our economy here in Michigan and progress in so many areas worldwide.
Yes, that's so true, Tyler. Because I think I'll just give you a quick story. Prior to the Popnology exhibit, we had an exhibit called Math Alive. We're a Smithsonian affiliate, and the Math Alive originally about 12 or 13 years ago premiered at the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. It's a great exhibit because it really is not so much about math as it is about the world around you. And then it describes what the math is. So in informal education, which is what we really focus on here, a little different from K-12, we kind of do this in the reverse. You know, K-12, there's content, there's curriculum. You start with the content and you work backwards, making it interesting and fun and interactive. On our side of things, in informal education, you reverse it. You start with what's fun and interesting and relevant to people, like pop culture, like other things, and then you tease out some of the things in science. So we did this with math. We had a kid that went through and got all the, played all the games and was really interacting with things. And we even had a Kahoot activity and another card game. And this kid was just rocking it, like understood everything. His mom came to one of our educators and said, I can't understand it. My son is not good at math, yet he's so good at this exhibit. And this happens all the time because it's the format. It's the way that you teach that sometimes, depending on the learner and how they want to access their knowledge and learn, they might want to do it in a hands-on way. They might want to use bodily kinesthetic activities. They might want to use something called embodied learning, which is another kind of pedagogy that you can use to engage people that we use all the time. So I think it makes all the difference in the world because a STEM professional does not have to be one-dimensional. And I should also say what we consider a STEM career might be changing because we're so much immersed in it right now. Even just being on your show, there's technology at work. There are technicians and engineers that help make this stuff work. And so it makes all the difference for kids to be exposed early and often to it and to recognize that they can do STEM too. And that's why we put you at the center of science.
Dr. Christian Greer joins us from the Michigan Science Center. He's the president and CEO with us on the Michigan Megacast. Dr. Greer, a couple more minutes with you before we'll say goodbye today. Yeah. Anything else that we haven't discussed that's coming up at the Michigan Science Center or that people should be on the lookout for in the near future?
Well, great. Well, just as a reminder, our family late night is this weekend, Saturday, July 30th. From 5 to 8 p.m. We're using reduced ticket prices, $10 for members. So get a membership. It's only $99. You can bring 2 adults or 2 caregivers and 6 kids, which is a lot of fun. It's $15 for non-members. And, another thing I forgot to mention, for active duty military, we're also part of the Blue Star Family Network, which allows you to get free general admission at our organization if you just present an ID or you have the ID of a spouse that's overseas or in active duty military. It's a great way to get the military families to have some opportunities to do as well and do that together because sometimes they can't always see each other. So if you're in town with your active duty spouse or partner, well, hey, bring them down to the Science Center. We'll get them in. And then we're hoping to do more IMAX films in the future and other activities in the fall. And it's just an exciting time for us for exhibits, for programs and activities. We have a lot of new staff with fresh, smiling faces that are excited to teach STEM to the public. And we're just happy to be able to promote this on the Megacast and to get people to come down to the Science Center, to Midtown Detroit, to be put at the center of science. How about that?
Dr. Greer, appreciate it. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.